Now, first of all, this takes the assumption that I am a part of a group that has been given responsibility for creating a response to an exercise that's in a textbook. In this particular case, I'm supposed to respond to exercise 2A in the book. So the first thing I need to do is to get together with my teammates, either in person, online, synchronously, that is at the same time, such as meeting in the Second Life classroom, or asynchronously, that is sending emails or posting on the discussion boards for our group. Either way, the first thing I want to do with them is come to a conclusion about what it is that we want to see in place, listed in a positive outcome statement that will provide a definition of what it is that we want to achieve. Now, many of you might say, well, I want to achieve an A. Well, the problem with this kind of definition is that it doesn't provide you any kind of guidance about how and what you're going to try to accomplish. So here you need to think more about what is the specific outcome that you want to achieve based on the assignment that you've been given. So after talking it over with our group members, what we have decided is that the situation we want to see by the time this is concluded is that we create the most complete and creative answer to exercise 2A. Now, this gives us a positive statement outcome that tells us what it is that we want to accomplish and gives us direction about the things that we need to do in order to accomplish it. If we had something as generic as I would like to make an A, there is at that point no agreement on exactly what needs to be done in order to achieve that. Now, once we've come to an agreement about what it is that we want to see in place when this is over, we then move upward in the motivation side of the map creation to the second level, where I'm going to give thought as to what it means to me to accomplish what we have defined as our outcome statement. In fact, each member of the group will spend time thinking, what does it mean to them? Well, when I think about this, what it's going to mean to me to complete the most creative answer to this exercise is it's going to make me feel good because it's going to impress the professor. That he or she is going to tell me what a good job I did, pat me on the back, and I'm going to feel really great about that and really pump up my self-esteem. Now, each of the other members of your group may have something similar or may have something different as the basis of what they would like to see as the outcome for themselves. Once you have made a decision what you want to feel when this thing is over, then again the group discusses what does it mean to the group. If we're able to achieve this outcome, what is it going to mean to the group? Well, it means that the professor is going to be impressed with and we will feel good about our accomplishment. And if we do a good job of impressing the prof, then we will get the A. In other words, if we achieve the objective, if we get it so that I get some benefit out of it, then the result for the entire group is that we will get the A, and the grade, in fact, will take care of itself. Now, once we go upward in this scale, then that's going to provide us a basic motivation for everybody in the group to work toward accomplishing our outcome as stated. So the first thing that we need to do as a group at this point is to decide what prevents us from being able to achieve what we have defined in that outcome statement. This is where we begin to move downward in the map creation, first beginning with a level that says, what is it that prevents us from achieving our outcome? One of the first things that we might do is that we look at exercise 2A and see what it asks for. And the first question that pops into our mind is that, well, we don't know the answer to 2A. So that's a main barrier to be able to answer it, is that we don't know what the answer is. Then we might think to ourselves, well, given the assignment, what are other things that prevent us from creating the most complete and creative answer to the problem? And we might identify things like, I don't know how to make a presentation, to I don't know how to operate Wimba, which for this example is the technology that was about to be used. For yours, you'll probably indicate that you don't know how to do a presentation in Second Life. Now, once you've identified any and all of these barriers, and for this example, we've identified 3, for any situation that you're working toward, you may identify fewer or you may identify more. It depends on the complexity of your positive outcome statement. So in this example, we now have 3 barriers that stop us. So we'll start on the one on the left. I don't know the answer to 2A. Well, how do I overcome that barrier? Well, the easiest way is to read the book. When we look at the 2A, it tells us to create a matrix that shows certain information. So our question is, what is a matrix? Well, we might need to look at Chapter 2 in order to determine exactly what a matrix is and what we need in order to create whatever it takes to overcome this particular barrier. What we might do is we might even go even further on this. In other words, it's possible that this could go downward for 1 or 2 more layers until we get to a layer that represents the first step that we need to take in order to accomplish our outcome. As it's illustrated here, it's suggesting that our first step is to go to Chapter 2 and find out what a matrix is. Once we know what a matrix is, then we read the chapter and read the book in order to determine the information that we need to acquire to go into the matrix. And once that's done, then we will have an answer to 2A. Then we can take a look at both of the others to determine how we're going to overcome those barriers. For example, I don't know how to present. Well, I took 3335 and I remember that one of the chapters there talked about how you make presentations. Well, where do we find that information? Well, gosh, it's in Chapter 8 of the textbook that was online. And this one, too, we may go down to say, well, we don't have access to that class anymore, so we need to contact Dr. Sturgis to see if there is some place we can go to read this, that we get the web address for it, and then we can go and access it to read it to see what we need to do in order to do a good oral presentation. Well, I don't know how to operate Wimba. Well, what we might do is to read the instructions. Now, instructions for Wimba are right on the page of entry. For Second Life, the help is over on the right-hand side on that little slide-out menu at the very top where you can click on it and read instructions about how you do some things. Or you can look around our classroom and find helpful hints, such things as how you prepare the presentation for upload for presentation in Second Life. So here you would go through a series of questions to determine where it is you're going to start the process in order to find out how to use the technology and the techniques to operate in Second Life in your case, or in Wimba in the case of this example. So when you have an assignment that says make an outcome-directed thinking map about how your group went about addressing the exercise that was assigned or the group task that was assigned, then this is the process that you go through to create the map. Now, somebody is going to say, well, gee, won't all of ours look somewhat similar? And the answer to that question is more than likely yes. This is a simple enough problem that there's not a great deal of complexity to it, so you are likely to find the same barriers no matter who is in consideration. The only differences might be the wording of the motivational factors to determine what it is that's going to motivate you and the group to be able to successfully complete this outcome. So this gives you an idea of what the map should look like that will be a part of the presentation next Saturday when you are talking about your answer to the exercise you have been assigned to respond to. So I'm hopeful this is helpful in providing you with some guidance about how you put the map together so that it won't be quite so confusing. So with that, thanks very much and good luck with the project.